Mr. President Grimson, my ladies and gentlemen, I'm here as a former here or former there. So I prefer to be some other thing than former. So I have added a new title to my CV. It says, admirer of beautiful sceneries. It covers many different things. A good example is what I'm looking at right now from this spot. All the good peoples who cares the living planet of us, of ours, generally, and the Arctic specifically. Thank you. The West Nordic Council was the first step for Greenland into the international cooperation since the establishment of the Home Rule government back in 1979. This step brought Greenland into a cooperation with the Faroes, which is 30 years ahead us as a Home Rule part of Denmark. And not least, the Republic of Iceland, which is almost 80 years ahead of us. So we all have, as member nations, a common history since the time of Landnam, and as former colonies to the same colonial power. I have participated at the Council from the very beginning and have followed the development of its existence, both as rank and file member of the delegation and as Minister for Trade and Transportation, and later on as Minister for Finance and Foreign Affairs. As I remember the first 10-15 years of the existence of the Council, we spent a lot of time during the annual meetings to exchange our experiences, both as former colony nations and as homelands of the North Atlantic seafarers and explorers, the Vikings, the Norsemen. To the annual meetings, we brought our songs, our food, our stories, our laughter, and our dances with us. These issues we discussed were much about living resources of the seas, how we make use of them, how we manage and regulate and utilize these resources within the respective boundaries. In the beginning of the 90s, we started to find out how to use the West Nordic Council to point out to Nordic Council the importance of developing of the relations between the two councils. And then after the establishment of the Arctic Council in 1996, the Council expanded its relations to include the 8 Arctic countries through participation in the conferences for the Standing Committee of Parliamentarians of the Arctic region, for example. And now, this moment, the Arctic Circle is the new opportunity to reach new areas. Thank you. During the last 15 years, the Council expanded the issues to include more promotion of West Nordic countries' interests, not least in regards to the serious issues of resource management, pollution, health services, education matters, and more focus on further cooperation within trade and transportation. It is of a great importance to let the new generations know that our existence is based on our relations to the elements, and that we continue to have the leadership role to fight against the irresponsible pollution of our environment. What about the time to come? From time to time, the question about including the North Scottish Islands and the northwestern coast of Norway has been brought up. I think it is about time to bring this topic up again, referring to the Rio Declaration from 1992. It is up to us to determine how to manage the common stocks of living resources we have in our common seas. So, in this matter, it is of importance to include people from these places. Thank you.